Man, welcome back to the Cruise Dynasty podcast. Back at it again, but we have been doing that redraft stuff, all about the fake stuff all the time. But we had a real big draft. Kraft had a whole big draft weekend. I had Chris, you just in one redraft league? Just this one, or are you in multiple?
I'm just in this one.
Yep, same for me. This is the main redraft for me. So shout out to Average Joes and those guys out there. We talking about y'all tonight. Because people outside of the league, real money, real draft, that's what it's all about. So we going to just go over what people did when the real money was on the line. See Swizzy in the building. What's going on, big dog?
Not much. Just got back from Pigeon Forge. Was drafting while I was running around mountains and shit. About to fucking fall off the goddamn motherfucker trying to pick my players. Took me some mushrooms, you know. Fucking smoked a little pot. Got in the hot tub, you know.
Ain't no better way to do it. Craft man in the building. What's going on, big dog?
Shoot, man, just happy to be back with you guys. That was a great draft weekend. I had to get up a second ago. My dogs were over there chewing on something, and it was a frog that's been dead for like 10 years. It looked like that joker was stiff. I was like, what the hell they done got into? So I had to go check that out. But I'm here. I'm ready to talk some redraft, ready for the season to start on Thursday.
Right, football right around the corner. Basically, tonight is pretty much going to wrap up redraft talk. We're going to go over what we did in this draft right here. Season comes along, we'll be getting out those episodes, like those once-a-week episodes, just talking Dynasty, values of players, and we're going to be trying our best to get our gambling content out. I was working on my gambling today. Crab Man, working on that gambling?
Yeah, I've been getting into it. I had a free thing in FanDuel, and it's a good weekend to get started because there's free squares and prize picks. There's a free square and sleeper. Everybody's got promotions to try to get the degenerates to hop on and spend their money with them. So this is really the best weekend to do it because you get all the free stuff, and Vegas hadn't really caught up with the lines and what they're going to be. I remember last year I won a lot more at the beginning than at the end because Vegas caught on. I remember last year, like McCaffrey's rushing lines were at like 65.5 rushing yards a game week one, week two. Then they jump up to about 98.5 at the end of the season. So you can kind of get ahead of them a little bit before they pick up on it.
Yep, I can't wait, man. Can't wait. Football just right around the corner. But hey, we're tonight redraft, one quarterback, half PPR. No tight end premium, 2 flex, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, kicker and a defense. That's how top it off redraft wise. Anything else that I need to say, Craftman? I was picking from the 4. Craftman was picking from the 10. See Swizzy at the turn. This was his first year in this Average Joe's league, so to the back you go. But I know Chris is ready to talk about what went down. Craftman, any initial thoughts?
I mean, not really. I felt like everybody, except for maybe 1 or 2 teams, I feel like drafted all right. I mean, I'm always going to be biased towards my own, but everybody did good. You drafted pretty much. I could have picked 4 to you because I knew exactly where you were going every single pick. It seemed like you got all the players that we've been talking about for months and kind of did what you wanted to do, except for, there's a couple guys that you probably wish you didn't have, but you can't have all of them.
Yeah, dude. I'll be honest. I was ecstatic the way this draft went. I mean, it couldn't have went any more perfect. I mean, I could have drew it up. This is how I would have done it pretty much. Well, I mean, I had a lot of unexpected things happen too, like some value dropping to me where I just had to take it, But we'll go ahead and we'll just start it off. CD was number 1, and we all knew that was happening. We all knew it was happening for months. At the 102 went CMC. At the 103, Tyreek Hill. So then I ain't gonna harp on it too long. I practice what I preach. I've been saying it the whole time. I'm going on and ride the 104. Bijan went at the 105. Jamar at the 106. I wonder if he's starting to get a little worried right now. Brees Hall at the 107. Oh, our good friend Noah Dickblow, AJ Brown at the 108. Garrett Wilson at the 109. And then that came to Kraft, man. What'd you do, Kraft, man?
Well, I went Jahmyr Gibbs right there. I mean, if Garrett Wilson or AJ Brown would have made it, I mean, I was kind of back and forth between Gibbs and Wilson going in. I didn't know, but if AJ Brown would have made it, I'd have picked him. But, you know, I want a piece of this Detroit offense. There's been times in the past where I've kind of skipped on running backs that were extremely talented because they don't get everything. And sometimes it comes back to bite you in the ass. So I was just like, great offense, explosive-ass running back who's going to get 15 opportunities a game. You know, still get some red zone work. I didn't have no problem picking Gibbs right there.
So then at the 111 went JT, and then old C Swizzy had to turn. I know he was happy with what he got. I was wondering what was going to happen. Go ahead, Chris. What went down?
I'd take Justin Jefferson at the 112. I understand people saying they don't want him in the mid rounds. Like, I get it. You're taking a gamble. You don't want to take him how you would have took him last year, like 2, 3, like around that. You ain't gonna do that. But the 112, come on, man.
Yeah.
You cannot let this man drop the 4. I don't care who's throwing him the ball. I'll go out there and throw him the ball, and I promise you he'll still be fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
Good receivers create separation for shitty quarterbacks to look good.
Well, who do you think he should have gone ahead of? Like, you take him over Gibbs and Garrett Wilson and Jonathan Taylor, probably.
I'd take him over Jonathan Taylor, not Jahmyr Gibbs, not in any kind of PPR, but over AJ Brown. I'd take him over AJ Brown. I'm not taking him over Garrett Wilson, but I'm taking him over AJ Brown.
All right, I see where Chris stands. Me personally, I would have taken him over Jonathan Taylor.
That's it for me too. I think looking at it, that's probably the only one.
I see where Chris is coming from with AJ Brown though, because that's kind of like people were staring that down the gun a lot this year. But I, for one, would have taken AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jahmyr. So just JT for me. So Chris, I know he was super happy because I would have been to get the best wide receiver in the league at the 12 spot. I mean, can't complain about that.
Nope. Yeah. Then I was last pick, so I had to back to back. Right there. I kind of kept it how I did in the mock, but things changed with Justin Jefferson, so I completely swapped how I drafted. That was like mid fucking draft. I swapped. Because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to be here the whole draft. I had my whole shit set up, queue for every pick, 3 or 4 different possible other pick. Like, I had everything. When Justin Jefferson came, I was like, I'm gonna completely rehaul everything that I'm doing right now. And I went Saquon right there at the 2-1. I just go ahead and get a good running back. Saquon, he's going to be with the Eagles. That's the best offensive line that he's ever been a part of. I mean, he played for the Giants. These motherfuckers are like turnstiles. You know, like at the subway. You don't even pay nothing. You just walk through them. But it's just going to be a lot better. I feel like JJ and Saquon at the 112 and then the 2-1. I mean, that's value.
I definitely think you came out on top because I would have taken Saquon over Jonathan Taylor too. So I felt like the term was perfect for you, pretty much. Unless you wanted to slide Kyron in there. And people would have thought that was pretty high. But speaking of Kyron, Derrick Henry went at the 2-2, and then Kraftman, you went Kyron Williams at the 2-3. So you started off running back. Well, really running back, if you want to dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, nothing scares me about Kyron. They were talking about the whole punt return and all this crap. Like, I'm not really worried about it. I still think Blake Corum's going to come in and he's going to play 30% of the snaps probably. I mean, that's what most running backs do if they're halfway decent. I mean, there's not many workhorse running backs that are going to get over 75% of the snaps anyway. And Kyron,
there's really only one. There's really only one running back in the NFL right now that gets that kind of volume.
It's
It's
McCaffrey.
James Conner. No, it's James Conner. That's who
It's
it is.
McCaffrey too.
But I'm talking about like your running back. You know, they'll run your ass 30 times type back. They ain't running Christian McCaffrey 30 times. They're going to throw it in the ball and do other stuff. But your bell cow, James Conner is pretty much the only one left.
I feel like James Conner shoot a lot of. Yeah, I'm looking at his snap percentages last year. He was about, I'd say, an average about 65-70% last season. They were working guys in. I don't know, not to disagree with you, because like I said, 75% workhorse running back, like 70-75%. There's not many guys getting 80-85%. Even Derrick Henry's probably going to be around 65% this year. They're going to work other guys in.
So Derrick Henry, that team right there, or Far Finger or whatever, they went running back. Man, that's the theme of this, of just playing with y'all in general, man. That's the theme of this whole draft. Is running backs will motherfucking push up that board like crazy. I seen some running backs go super high. Marv went at the 2-4. Pacheco at the 2-5. He was one guy I was looking at. Knew Noah Dick Blower probably had his idea, thought about going over there. I was sure of it, but he's always a wild card. You know, that you talk about know your league. I do know my league or whatever, and I know that Noah Dick Blow is a wild card. That joker, you never know who he'll draft. I feel like he'll pull anything out your hat. So then after Pacheco goes out, I'm like, all right, I really want Drake London to fall. Drake London comes off the board immediately. So then I'm just thinking, oh snap, like I'll take any of these three right here, basically. And then Josh Jacobs comes off the board. Then I'm like, oh, snap. So Josh Jacobs off at the 2-7. Then ETN comes off at the 2-8. And then I was like, I ain't even hesitating. Puka Nacua just dropped to the 2-9. Man, I could not have expected that. I mean, that just came right to me. I was like, let's go, man. Starting it off with Amon-Ra Puka. I mean, at best ball, Puka was in the back half of the first. Now, I know his values dropped, but I ain't ever seen him go this low.
Nah, and that's why we say on all our episodes leading up, it's like, if you go into a draft saying I'm gonna go running back, or wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, like, you're just kidding yourself. Because when a player falls value wise, shoot, in my Yahoo draft, I have never gone early QB, but Jalen Hurts fell to the 5th round, and I was like, well, shit, you know,
Right.
That's value. I guess I'm going to have to take an early QB. So that's kind of what you did right there. It's just like, you don't want to go into it saying, I'm going to do this, when if something opens up, you got to pay attention to it.
Right. So I was happy with that. Then A-Chain goes at the 2-10 with old P. Miller.
With Tyreek, too. Two Dolphins back to back. I've seen that happen in both my leagues, Tyreek and A-Chain on the same team.
So then old Slam Easy, you know he's going running back, and he went Rachaad White, and I was surprised that he went Rachaad White. He was one guy. So, I mean, Rachaad White in our league just went in the back half of the second. If I put that on Twitter today, laughed at. I mean, I'm not laughing. I like Rachaad White. I would have taken him in the, hey, maybe the 3rd. I would have considered it. So, back half of the second.
But Ian's different. Like, we were sitting there talking, and he was one of those that said he's going running back heavy like he always does. And I was just telling him, like, you could have gone somewhere else there, man. Like, wide receivers are falling, and you could have got Rachaad White. You could have got Rachaad White a little later. But he got the receiver he wanted anyway, getting Devontae Adams coming back. But we'll talk about Levi, too, right after that. So
yeah, Levi, he keeps it vet. He brings his old guys in. Debo at the turn with Mike Evans. He's high on Mike Evans. There ain't no doubt about it. Even in the mock draft, he took Mike Evans. So he went wide receiver.
He was very predictable, too. I mean, I kind of knew exactly where he was going almost every time, because we've done a couple mocks. And Levi is one guy that's not a wild card. If he tells you he likes somebody and that he's going to be drafting them, he's most likely just going to do it.
Right. Yeah, he definitely stayed on brand. I could pretty much I knew some of the players that you were going to pick, and then I definitely knew some of the players that White Snake was going to pick. And I knew I would say out loud to Phil, because I was doing the draft next to him, talk about, all right, at the turn right here, Dak Prescott's definitely going. And sure enough, he'd be gone. Yeah, you're right. Devontae Adams at the 3-2. You know, I hadn't liked that pick all year. I've been staying away from that one the whole way. But Ian kind of stays on brand with his picks. You know what I'm saying? So a little
Yes,
too high for me.
I took him in the same spot in my Yahoo league
Yeah.
because I had him. I mean, I like all the receivers in that tier that we were talking about with Jalen Waddle and all them, but still had him ranked higher. So felt like I had to do it.
All right, hear me out. Josh Allen was the first quarterback off the board at the 3-3, and I was talking to Phil. He said he's so tired of not having a quarterback. Josh Allen comes to him in the third. He was going to do it. And sure enough, he did it. And I was telling him at a certain point, I was thinking before the draft, I was thinking if these guys right up here don't take him like early to mid second, I feel like you'll definitely get Josh Allen because you got a lot of guys that ain't going to. You know, White Snake, he gets 2 picks over there. He's not going Josh Allen with one of them. And I knew
No.
Slim Easy wasn't. I wasn't. You know, I wasn't. I mean, if Josh Allen would have came to the 4th or something crazy like that, I'd slide him. So Josh Allen off the board. Chris, too early for you? 3-3?
I mean, no, not really, because it's Josh Allen. I mean, it just depends on what people are going to do. It all depends, because everything changes.
Definitely got him after ADP. Go ahead, Crap.
I mean, I know he has to go first because he is the number one quarterback for most people, and you got to draft him that early to get him. But I still think that this year with Josh Allen is a little different than previous years, where he doesn't necessarily have the weapons he's had in the past. So I don't know. I wouldn't have made the pick because I don't think he's like light years ahead of the other guys like Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. But if you want him, you got to take him there.
Yeah. All right, so in the third, at the 3-4, I go Jalen Waddle. And I had been saying it the whole time, I'm going Jalen Waddle in the third, but I will be honest, Craftman, Chris Olave kept dropping. And I just kind of stared that one down for a little bit, and then I was like, man, am I about to do Olave? But then what really swayed me, because I stayed on the clock for a little bit, I had Olave last year. Man, sometimes it's hard for that man to score points. So I stuck to my guns. Waddle in the third. Easy pick for me. Then Malik Neighbors goes at the 3-5. Ayuk at the 3-6. Nico at the 3-7. Cooper Kupp at the 3-8. And then finally Chris Olave at the 3-9. So good value right there. Just a little wide receiver run right there in the third round.
The way it should have been, because the running backs were gone. There's some really good wide receivers right there in the third. And you can pick them in any order that you want to. I think everybody was just calling a shot. I mean, Malik Neighbors was probably the one that went a good bit higher than we've seen. He's usually been in like the 4th, and he went ahead of guys like Nico and Cooper Kupp, Brandon Ayuk. And this was after the Brandon Ayuk news that he had done re-sign with San Fran. So that might be a little bit of a reach, picking a guy on a bad team like that. I don't question the talent at all, but can Daniel Jones really make him a top, 15 type receiver where he got drafted?
Right. Well, go ahead, Crap, man. 3-10.
Oh, yeah, 3-10. Thought we were all my pick, but I had been saying this whole time that I was going to go receiver in the third and in the 4th and double down, but I told myself before the draft, James Cook is like the one guy that if he falls that far, that I'll take him because I liked him. I liked him better than Rachaad White, who went about a round earlier, and I liked him more than Achane too. So if it would have been anybody else but James Cook, I would have went DK right there, who went the pick after me. But it was just value, so felt like I needed to take it.
So different strategies. I go wide receiver heavy. You go running back heavy.
And I wasn't planning on it either. I had no plan of doing anything because, like I said, if AJ Brown was in the first, I'd have taken him. So
see Swizzy at the turn stays balanced. Go ahead, see Swizzy.
I'll go ahead and take Kenneth Walker right there, just because I was already looking at what running backs were going to be after I picked, and you're looking at guys after Kenneth Walker, you're going to be looking at like Joe Mixon. I'm not going to throw the Zamir White in there because I'm still dumbfounded by that one. I'm not going to. We'll talk about that one, I guess, when we get to it. But James Conner came off, and then right after James Conner, to me, there's like a massive drop off with your Raheem Mostert is your risky pick. Your Montgomerys, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Ramondre Stevenson. You know, like that's who I would have been looking at if I didn't take Kenneth Walker right there. So I go ahead and I take Kenneth Walker. And right at the turn, I was hoping that one of the receivers in the run earlier had made it down. Like I would have smacked Chris Olave right there at the 4-1 immediately if he was there. If DK was there, y'all know damn well I'm not taking DK Metcalf. I will go ahead and I just take DJ Moore right there. I got Justin Jefferson. I'm solid at RB with Saquon and Kenneth Walker. I'm going to just go ahead and grab DJ Moore, see what Caleb Williams can do, and now that the Chicago offense is pretty stacked.
Yeah. I like the pick. I mean, DJ Moore isn't my favorite, but I feel like you got good value right there. And out of all the Bears receivers, he's definitely by a long shot the one that I want, even at the cost. So I think that was a good pick.
Kenneth Walker, definitely somebody I was taking a look at. You know, I had been saying that one too. 4th round automatic, Kenneth Walker. If he came to me you know, it was around his ADP, but if he would have dropped to me no matter what my roster looked like, if I had 3 running backs, I'd have taken Kenneth Walker. That's what I was hoping. So I seen Chris take him, and I was like, oh, man. So then Kamara comes off at the 4-2. Kraft, man, finally gets him a wide receiver.
Yeah, 3 running backs to start, and then Devontae Smith is my wide receiver 1. I mean, like Chris said with Kenneth Walker, I mean, you're sitting there, and Chris made a good decision because if you're picking at the turn, you really got to take the guy you want because when it comes back to you, like you said, you're going to be looking at like the Ramondre tier and players like that after that. And, you know, the receiver tier for me, it was just automatic. I already had running backs. Devontae Smith, Kellen Moore, that offense, I think it's going to be humming. So I think it's going to be solid. Maybe not the best wide receiver 1 in the world, but in the 4th round, I'll take it.
Yeah. Heck, I'm super high on Devontae Smith anyways.
Yep.
James Conner at the 4-4. Then Hurts. Noah Dick below it going Jalen Hurts in the 4th. So
that's
he's got
off brand too.
Yeah,
that's way off brand.
I was happy that went down later on when I started making decisions when I was seeing who had quarterbacks. I was like, hell yeah, I'm so glad Noah Dick Blow
I was surprised to see James Conner go that high. Because he was projected like way down there, and they went and grabbed him. But I could see once I looked at the team, I was like, okay, it makes sense. They went wide receiver heavy. They got to grab one of these running backs. And honestly, out of all the running backs that have stayed on there, I mean, James Conner would probably be the one that I would pick right there.
I think D. Beckley had a pretty good draft. He kind of went out there and took guys out of ADP and just drafted guys that he wanted. You could kind of tell.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. He drafted somebody I wanted, that motherfucker.
I knew it too. I knew he sniped Chris on that one. I was shocked to see Xavier Worthy go on that one, and I was like, I know he sniped Chris.
He'll be on the team before the season starts. Don't worry.
All right, so then we go tight ends. The first tight ends off the board, Laporta, and then Mark Andrews. And then we got Zamir White, and then it came to me. And then, crap, man, this is where I had a decision. All these tight ends started running off the board. And I was thinking, I'm going to just go ahead and just take McBride. Go ahead and just take him. And then just go ahead and take Kyler in the 5th. That's really what I wanted anyways. But I just kind of was looking around and snuck Joe Mixon in there. That's how I feel about that. Just snuck him in real quick because I needed a running back, and I knew they were going to keep flying off the board like crazy. So I needed to at least get one. Yeah, man. So Joe Mixon was. Yeah, Chris is right. I would have loved James Conner. Loved him. I might would have taken a shot on Zamir White, any of them guys, but I'm okay with Joe Mixon, I guess. But I just can't complain with the start because I was thinking about not even going running back here. So I'm just really glad I got a starting running back. Um, then I went Trey McBride in the fifth, so I kind of got a little risky. But the Kelsey went right after me. Mahomes at the 411, Dalton Kincaid at the 412. He's a tight end I was interested in. Then he goes Raheem Mostert in the fifth. And I'm just like, golly, these running backs. David Montgomery at the 5.2, then Aaron Jones at the 5.3. Running backs just flying off the board, man.
And that's when I was happy that I already got mine. And I was just didn't even have to worry about it anymore.
You sitting there looking at DeAndre Swift and Ramondre, and you're like, oh, fuck this.
You know I didn't want to be drafted in that tier. Those are like two guys that I'm completely out on. So I didn't even want to be thinking about that shit when it came back.
So like I said, I go McBride in the fifth. I was pretty much wanting to go tight end in the fifth, no matter what. Pittman at the 5.5. Then just like Chris talking about Swift and Ramondre back to back at the 5.6 and the 5.7. Noah Digblow with Higgins at the 5.8. Lamar at the 5.9. You're right, D. Blackler. He did have a good draft. Rashi Rice at the 5.10. Craftman went a little bit higher. Then I was expecting Rashi Rice in the 6, so you must have felt a little nervous about it, Craft.
Well, I was thinking about the guys behind me. I didn't think that Brad, Farfinger, my brother, I knew he didn't have his eye on Rasheed Rice. And I know Chris did like Xavier Worthy above Rasheed Rice anyway. I didn't really think he would take him. But it ended up working out perfect for me anyway because after I picked Rice, which was one of my guys anyway, like one of the guys that I really wanted during the draft. And after that, I was wanting to go another receiver anyway, and nobody drafted a receiver at the turn, so it worked out good anyway.
Yeah. All right, so played a little ADP game, got your guy, then got another one of your guys. So A-Rich goes at the 5.11. And then OC Swizzy had to turn again with some interesting picks. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Swizzy.
So right here, I started looking, and I was already looking. I was like thinking, I'm gonna just wait, and I'll take Kirk Cousins super late, do something like that. But I took a look at my team, and I was like, okay, so Justin Jefferson, Saquon, Kenneth Walker, DJ Moore. I'm like, okay, I could have some fucking crazy weeks if I have a solid tier QB. So I just took CJ Stroud right there. I know right there, I'm gonna be straight at quarterback. I'm gonna be
It's
good.
the next pick that's questionable.
I don't even mind the next pick because I took him later than most people would. I took Kyle Pitts at the 6-1. All these tight ends have fallen off the board and stuff. I'm kind of high on Atlanta's offense coming into this year. I think it's going to be. This shit is going to be crazy if it works out. He's going to be throwing that thing.
Above Kittle and Ingram, though?
I'm taking my shot on it.
It's the upside shot. Chris's favorite league mate. Duncan is smiling from ear to ear right now. Kyle Pitts, baby. 6-1. Hey, there was a point where I would have taken him too. That's
Me too.
Just real heck, man, shoot. If I didn't have a tight end and he slid to me in the 6, which a lot of tight ends came off the board by then at that point. So, yeah, that was tough. That Kyle Pitts has been the toughest one of all year. It's the wild card. I know people like Dunk want it to happen. Now Chris wants it to happen. So we'll see how it goes.
I just know Tyler Conklin went in the 15th round, and I think I'd rather have Tyler Conklin. So, still on the comp.
That's all right. First year in the league, and I got to hand Austin Kraft this ass whooping the first week.
Dang, y'all.
The first week.
You know that ain't happening.
Week 1.
We're going to welcome you in real quick. Gonna break you in.
So we get Najee at the 6-2. Then, like Kraft said, he went wide receiver. Amari Cooper. So I guess you was probably debating him in the round before, right, Kraft man?
Somebody that didn't like Amari Cooper. Craftman sure got his hella shares of Amari Cooper.
Hey man, if we go back, I said this might be the year where I have to take him because he's going at a good spot. And I don't know. He's still not my favorite player, but as far as value goes, I felt like that was good value. I wanted him somewhere around that T. Higgins range, and he fell a little bit later than that. So, yeah. I mean, I thought it was fine, but I wanted to talk about my brother's team because he's the same as he's the same as what Ian likes to do. He goes RB heavy, so he drafted 4 running backs with his first 6 picks also. And like we just reiterated, running backs they come off so damn fast.
So fast.
When you're playing in this. But I wasn't even debating. Amari Cooper was a pretty easy pick. I mean, it was between him. I don't like Zay Flowers. I wasn't going to draft Keon Coleman that early.
Yep.
Y'all know I'm not drafting Diggs. I mean, Tank Dell was probably in between Amari Cooper and Tank Dell for me at that time. But, you know, I would rather have the number 1 in the offense rather than maybe the number 2 or 3. Even if the offense ain't bad. And I think a lot of people have thought that Amari Cooper wasn't good with Deshaun Watson. He was on pace for like 1,600 yards in the games he played with Deshaun Watson last year.
Yeah.
It was the Joe Flacco, David Njoku thing. People get mixed up. David Njoku was the one that sucked with Deshaun Watson and then picked it up with Flacco. But Amari Cooper stayed steady throughout the entire year.
People only remember that he did good with Flacco's because he played with Flacco when he had that big game. And it wasn't even because of Flacco. It was because Amari Cooper broke off that tackle and then got the ball in. Like, it wasn't because Joe Flacco got him the ball.
Yeah. I think he's going to be fine with Watson. No, I'm not too worried about it. He's not an exciting pick for me, but I felt like it was the right move.
So Evan Ingram comes off at the 6'4", Kittle at the 6'5", then we go Zay Flowers, Keon Coleman, Jake Ferg.
Yeah.
I know you didn't like that one, Kraft man. I'm about to sneeze, but it wouldn't come out.
Hey man, I really wanted to have a tight end in this draft, but where I was drafting at, it just wasn't. It wasn't possible. I told myself that I'll take one of the top guys in the 5th, but it would have had to been the late 5th where I was drafting at. I'm not going to take him over. I'm not going to take a tight end over Devontae Smith when I already have 3 running backs. And then when it came down to the 5th, that tier was gone of the guys that I really like. So it was kind of like, I could get, my Ferguson here, but I really would like him around later. And that just, tight ends came off pretty quick.
Yeah, I really didn't realize he was off the board until I saw in the 8th round who you picked in the 8th round. And I was like, JSN. And I was like, this is Jake Ferguson round. So I had to scroll up a little bit just to see where Jake Ferg had went. And he had went a couple rounds earlier. So, yeah, I knew you was might want to say something about that. But I go Kyler Murray in the 6th. That's what I was looking for. I got the stack with McBride. Then we go Stephon Diggs, and P. Miller said, obviously, like I say, I was sitting right next to him. He said if Diggs falls this far to him, he was just going to grab him. He did fall so far. I mean, I ain't even going to lie. If I didn't have a plan in place, I mean, eventually I would have picked him. I mean,
yeah, really. I mean, he was falling.
Far. I mean, it was crazy. So he fell to the 6'10", and his ADP was like, what, right next to Tank Dell's, I think, by the time we drafted.
It was ADP 37. So, like 3rd, 4th round almost.
Yeah. Yikes. So,
that was probably the biggest faller in the draft, I would say.
Yeah. I agree. So, yeah, Phil picks him up. Then Njoku goes at the 6'11". Dak at the 6'12". Then Tank Dell.
See the tight ends, man. Them tight ends. David Njoku in the 6. That's a lot higher than we're used to also.
Well, shoot, I must have been wrong about what's his name's ADP because Tank Dell went at the 7'1". So, Tank Dell was, all right, well, shoot, man. Tony Pollard at the 7'2". Kirk, 7'3". Crap, man, I just went right back to it, man. Wide receivers. I mean, I said when we were doing best ball, when I was going running back, I felt good with George Pickens as my my wide receiver 2. I got him as my wide receiver 4, so I'm just super happy, man. That's just some depth. I don't even got to play him if I don't want to. Jordan Love, then these quarterbacks start coming off the board. Jordan Love ahead of Joe Burrow at the 7'6". Terry McSee to 7'7". Jada Reed 7-8, Xavier Worthy at the 7-9, Lab McConkey at the 7-10, Bowers 7-11, and Godwin, yeah, over there back to Chris. So basically, all these rookies come off the board because Xavier, we already kind of mentioned him. Chris, you was looking at Xavier Worthy right there. Were you?
If Xavier Worthy was right there, 100% would take him every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have took him right there. But Chris Godwin fell, and that's just one of them. Because I was looking at McLaurin, Reed, Worthy, and then Godwin right there. And I had all of them in the thing, so like the queue in case I couldn't do it. So one of them guys was coming to the squad if they was there. I saw him take Xavier Worthy, and I was like, fuck. I saw McLaurin went off, and then Reed had went off, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to grab Chris Godwin at the turn. Low floor. Kind of like ceiling's not too ridiculous either, but he's got a low floor. He gets the target.
Yeah, he got like a high floor, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, high floor.
Yeah, you don't want a low floor.
Then I got Deontay right on the turn. Right after that, I just went ahead and grabbed another receiver that necessarily not on a good offense, but he's going to be the most targeted receiver.
I definitely like it.
I texted my brother after you made them picks because we talk on the phone a lot, and he was like, man, I just like to sit and wait for a receiver. He was like, I get guys like Chris Godwin and Deontay Johnson. And you literally picked both of them guys like right before he picked, and I just texted him. I was like, you got fucking sniped, didn't you? He was disgusting like hell.
Oh, man. Well, then he it must run in the family because then he goes Jameson Williams. I mean, good Lord.
That's off brand. I've never heard him say a word about Jameson Williams before in my life. So I think he just got sniped, like I said. And he was at a point where he had all them running backs and DK's his number one, where he had to go. He needed a receiver.
There's just so many of them receivers that come after him that I would take over Jameson Williams.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Keenan, Calvin Ridley, JSN. Y'all know I'm high on JSN.
Y'all know I'm high on JSN.
Yeah. Oh, you should have went JSN over Deontay or Godwin.
I mean, I thought about it.
Yeah.
I did think about it.
So,
but I think JSN is going to be more of a dynasty play and not a redraft play.
Yeah. Crapman, you went McConkey in the 7th, Zach Moss in the 8th. Pretty good 7-8 for you. I know you think so.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, McConkey, you know how high I am on him, and Zach Moss around the running backs that was left, Javonte, Devin Singletary, Eckler, Gus, went after him. And then I still realize that, I could be wrong about this. It could be the Chase Brown show, which I got in another league. In 2 other leagues, actually, I got Chase Brown. I just wanted to make sure that I got one of them guys because the Bengals offense is going to be rolling, and that pick he could be a top 10 RB if he's halfway as good as Mixon was last year. If he gets it all, but still think they're going to split the backfield a little bit, but I wasn't going to take Javonte Williams in that offense.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was definitely hoping Javonte came to me in the 8th. I was like, come on, somebody drop to me. I was looking at Javonte. He went at the 8-5. Keenan Allen came off the board. Odunze, both of the Bears, wide receivers. Ridley at the 8-8. Somebody I was looking at. This is where I make a change, though, Crowd, man. I just started. There was still a couple wide receivers I thought about taking. Because, I was really looking Brian Thomas. I was looking at him. But I was like, man, I got no choice. So I go Devin Singletary. Then I go Jalen Warren. And then I go Tajay Spears. I just start grabbing all these running backs. I'm going to patch up that RB2 spot. Well, really patch it up all the way. Joe Mixon's my number 1 guy. So I just started grabbing running backs. And I felt like there was some decent running backs there. Because really, everybody had plenty of running backs. So there was just a little pocket to kind of take from. And I just kind of took from that pocket. Guys like Eckler down here. Brian Robinson are down here. So, some good value down here.
Yeah, I think you had a great draft. You did pretty much exactly what I did last year when I won it. And I went 3 receivers at the top and had a decent RB1. And then the RB2 was just kind of patch it up throughout the season. So And Joe Mixon was actually my running back last year that I had for most.
Yeah, he gonna carry me.
Got a top tight end, got a top quarterback. I mean, you can't be great everywhere, and the RB2 spot ain't a bad. You already got your flex plays figured out, and you had a pretty good draft. Sure.
I say let's just go through. Y'all want to kind of? I know Chris made a couple good picks down here at the end. Jaden Daniels in the 10th. I've been saying for a while he's that wild card pick. Like he's the one that you really look at and it's like, oh man, he could really take off and win you a fantasy season. Hawk down here in 11th, go take him and put him in your IR. So
he's already got somebody in his IR.
Oh, who? Oh, Jonathan Brooks, man.
I'm worried about Chris's bench, man. I looked at it. He's got 2 quarterbacks on there. He's got a guy on IR. He's got Hawkinson on his bench. He's got Charbonnet's the only player that he can put in. Like
for right now. For right now.
Chris about to learn about that redraft. Like he been playing Dynasty for too long, crap, man. Look at him.
He ain't got no depth. Ain't got no depth.
I mean, but I look at these other teams, and I mean, I don't really see no depth there either. I just see a lot of names.
That is what makes redraft so fun.
I see a lot of names.
All right, well, shoot, crap, man. How do you feel about the way your team went?
I mean, I don't really like taking handcuffs, but Blake Corum in the 10th. You know, I felt like I was going to take him. If I got Kyron, I was going to make sure that I got Corum if I didn't have to reach for him. And I felt like I got him right where he belonged anyway. So it was just one of them. You want the Rams running back. If Kyron were to go down, Blake Corum's going to step in and just be, you know, crazy good, top 10 running back probably. And I just didn't want to pass on that. So got him and got guys that I've been preaching about all the time. I got Brian Thomas as my rookie, you know, breakout. Darnell Mooney, who I like. Rashid Shaheed, who I ended up dropping because I didn't draft a tight end in this whole entire draft, so I had to drop somebody.
Yeah.
And, had to fill my tight end spot. We're going to be streaming them things.
Yeah. Dude, I pretty much finished my draft with Jordan Addison, kept on falling. I mean, I had no intentions of drafting him, but he just kept on falling, so I just took him. Dallas Goedert, got him behind ADP or whatever. He just fell a little bit. I just took him. I really wasn't worried about looking for a backup tight end or nothing like that, but he was just there.
I kind of thought he'd even fall even further because you had Trey McBride, and I was looking at all the teams that drafted, and I was like, every single one of them got a tight end. I doubt they're going to take 2 tight ends, but he didn't even come close to making it back.
Right. T-Law in the 13th, that was just too easy. Got me a little backup quarterback. And then Jalen Pope, literally my most owned person all year in best ball and everything. Now take him to the redraft. I mean, I have Jalen Pope everywhere, crap, man. You love
Jalen Polk. I mean, I could see how this offense is going to be behind a lot, having to throw the ball. He could just be a PPR target who's just getting peppered with targets at the end of the game, third and fourth quarter when they're having to throw the ball. Especially if Drake May's in there slinging that rock, you know, he's going to be he might be a league winner.
Hey man, if Jalen Polk does any kind of work, I might win some money in some best ball this year. Might win a lot since I got so much of them.
He gonna look real good with Milton throwing him the ball.
Hey man, I was pissed that somebody grabbed my Bengals before they got to me. I was like, who plays New England week 1? And then the Bengals went around before me. I was like,
and dude, I immediately went and picked up the Bengals. I was like, here we go. Stream them.
Man. That joke is too funny. All right, Crabman, any teams you want to point out or some strategies?
I mean, it kind of went its plan. A lot of people did different things, but I don't think anybody did nothing super crazy. Like we didn't have a guy in here go 0 RB and not draft a running back until like the 6th round. You were probably closest to it. Right. You and, D. Beckler took a running back in the 4th, but, I feel like I said, I think tight ends went a little earlier than normal. Running backs always do in your home leagues. That's always how it goes. But what surprised me the most was tight ends going like pretty much a round earlier than they usually do. And quarterbacks, depends on what kind of redraft you're in. If you're in a new one where people are kind of just starting off, quarterbacks go a little earlier. But if you're with people who played for a while, they always seem to drop because people know how you need that depth on your team. So I think people just took quarterbacks where they felt like was a good value, like Ian. I mean, he never goes early QB. Noah never goes early QB. He's probably the one that I would say always waits. I mean, I got Brock Purdy in the 11th, which we had Ian on the podcast, and he was hyping up Purdy like crazy.
Right.
Could have had him in the 11th round, and he gets Patrick Mahomes in the 4th because it was the late 4th, almost 5th round. So I felt like it was just good value.
Agree. Which worked out good for me. Any other teams? Yeah, you're right. We commented on D. Beckler. He had a pretty good draft. Yeah. Farfinger, just like Ian. A lot of RBs. I'm gonna post these results on the episode. We'll link it on there in the about, and I'll put it on Twitter as well. But that's pretty much the end of it. Man, that's the end of all our redraft, and we've been talking redraft for a couple months. Coming to a close right here, Craft Man. Go ahead and say what you got to say about this draft. I know you got more to say.
Shoot, it was just fun. It was fun as hell. I love to see what everybody was doing and just sitting there hating like hell on some picks, like the Zamir White pick in the 4th round. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. Right after Malik Neighbors in the 3rd with the same team, it was just kind of like,
who is that? Who's at the 5 this year?
He works with us at UPS. He's a huge Falcons fan and a Georgia fan. So Bijan goes at the 1-5, which I mean that's normal anyway. But
right.
Zamir White, that's exactly the reason that Zamir White went that early, because Georgia bias right there.
Yeah.
There's always some Georgia bias going around.
That Ladd McConkey bias. But, hey, it's so funny. Xavier Worthy went a pick before Ladd McConkey, and that's just gonna. Yeah. And I've been saying all off season, McConkey outscored Xavier Worthy this. So
I can't wait to see that one play out. I think it's funny. That one's gonna be one we pay attention to.
Oh, I'll be paying attention to that shit week 1. I'll be all over that.
Shoot, I already got a prize pick that is gonna smack. First week is gonna smack.
Hey, we about to start giving the folks. Yeah, we about to start giving the folks the gambling content every week. We gonna go ahead, Kraft.
I was just gonna tell them, Matt, what we got playing gambling wise, what we're gonna try to do on a weekly basis, and all the other stuff we're gonna do with the podcast during the season.
Yep, go for it, Kraft Man. Say what you got to say. Take it over.
Oh shoot, I was gonna let you handle it, man.
Nah, we pretty much get into our once a week episodes where we talk Dynasty. It's just a casual conversation, just chopping it up. But really, it's some of our best episodes, no doubt about it. And then week by week, we're going to try to get our gambling out any way possible. Some of us are handling game lines. Me and the poor man P. Miller, we like to look at that stuff. We're going to look at some game lines. The Craft Man and Chris and Noah Dick Blower out there. They like to do some prop bets, some DFS. We're going to be giving all that kind of information out. And we're going to try to at least get some kind of episode out once a week of that. Even if it's solo, me and the Craft Man rolling, you might hear us both solo in the week. But somehow, some way, you go get your gambling content. Because that's pretty much our thing. We do this Dynasty stuff and we talk it all. We like to do the gambling. It's really my favorite part of the year. So...
yeah, it is the best part of the year. We got Thursday night football, got the Ravens and the Chiefs, and got the Packers and the Eagles on Friday. So we got a lot of stuff coming. But as far as the gambling goes, like he said, we're gonna try to get it out, once a week, hopefully, and even if we got to get on just solo. But we're gonna have a lot of good shit for y'all to listen to, and the Dynasty talk. We're gonna hit on values, like way players are going. Trades.
Yeah. Man, we'll talk about the teams, like if Philly looks bad. for the next 4 games, we'll be just talking about them. We'll talk about it all, man. Dynasty. We even throw a little redraft in the middle of the year, though. A lot of buy low talk, a lot of trades. We go over trades a lot. Heck, we'll probably start doing that immediately. Some of that'll start going down soon. Trade after trade, redraft and dynasty. We throw them both in the same episode. We like to do it both. Swizzy, anything you want to say to the folks out there?
I'm ready for the football season.
Yep. You ain't told a lie yet. Craftman, anything else you got to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, as far as like the DFS goes with the gambling too, we're not gonna do like waiver wire pickups like all the other podcasts and start sit decisions. But if you listen to the DFS stuff, like when we put our lineups in FanDuel, it'll give everybody a lot of information on what matchups we like during the week. You know, same thing with the prop bets. It'll help with some of them decisions anyway, and help you put in some lineups that's gonna win some big money too.
Yep, because we talk the fake stuff, but it's about winning real money. With that said, we out.
Peace.